What's up, dudes and dudes here? Now, my name's Scyushi, and we are back as more Trove. Now, this is a very popular request during a lot of my live streams. What are the mods that I'm using? Where's an updated video for the mods that I'm using? Now, normally in these videos, I would like to go through the mods that I'm using in-game, but the funny thing is that's not entirely accurate to the mods that I use because I actually use a really old version of Trove Tools, which has a lot of mods that don't actually end up showing up in-game. But if I'm being perfectly honest, this entire list is kind of a mess. There's lots of mods you can see that I still have like on my hard drive that I don't actually use. So we're not going to end up going through this list either. Instead, we're going to hop into my Discord and then we're going to go to the Trove Mods tab. So this is a list that I ended up creating a while ago, as you can see, that essentially gives me the opportunity of updating this list anytime that I need to, because up until this point, I'm basically stuck remaking mod videos over and over and over again. And basically like a lot of the mods that I use are either the same that you've seen me use months, if not years ago, save for maybe like one or two mods that slowly end up getting added into the list. So for the sake of saving your guys' time, you can just join my Discord. You don't gotta end up having any of this chat unlocked or anything. You don't even gotta chat in the Discord, but you just go to this Scyushi stuff and then there's the Trove Mods channel. I'm still going to go through a lot of these with you guys here in this video, but suffice to say, this is basically a very updated list of all of the mods that I use, and I slowly tweak it and update it as time goes on. I'm not saying that I won't end up having other highlighted mod videos in the future, but this way I can get away with a longer break before I need to do another one of these videos inevitably. So I do have these organized by important mods first. So we got the 5-star boss waves for Sundered Uplands. All of these mods are also in alphabetical order in the Team Pixel Discord. This one basically ends up adding like the proper counter and shows the waves that you're on when you're in Sundered Uplands 5 stars. The Auto Easy Happy Chaos Forge, as you can see, makes it possible to automatically reroll stats until you get what you want. I don't even think I'm using this mod anymore. It's a really good one. Lots of people suggested it to me and I enjoyed it, but I'm not the biggest fan of it just because it adds a little too much nuance to it. Essentially what happens is you'll select the stats that you want and then you can just tell it to keep re-rolling until it gets the stats that you want. But I don't know, maybe I'm just so old school with this game. I prefer doing it myself. Next is the Berserk Battler Status Indicator, which essentially makes this visual bar show up that slowly counts down so that when you end up using your Berserk Battler gem, it's going to show just how much of it is filled up and how much light value you actually have on your character. Another visual mod that I don't use just because I'm really picky and weird when it comes to these sorts of things. I also have the Better Shadow Tower menu, which we'll skip right over that because who uses the Shadow Tower anymore? There's the Better Tome Reminder. So this one will actually be the one that you see in a lot of my videos where it says change your tome in the top right. There is actually another mod that can automatically change your tome, but it doesn't work with the minimap mod. And the minimap mod is more important to me than automatically changing my tome. The Definitive Boss Radar, this is the big one. Everyone's always asking, how do you get the X marks the spot for all the dungeons and stuff? By Chronicles Boss Radar Definitive version. There's a lot of different versions of this Boss Radar, but this is the best one. Also, here is the super old custom VFX for Shadow, Radiant, Stellar, and Crystal that I have. This is a mod that, it last was updated in 2018, so there you go. That's probably why most of you haven't found this mod, just because there's a lot of other mods that change the visuals of drops. I just personally really like this one. The way that it's set up, the way that the streams go straight up means that you can see where the gear is inside a dungeon that's below you. A more recent one by Chronicle is also the DPS display. This one is fantastic because it basically is going to end up calculating the amount of damage that you do and giving you an average in the bottom right of your character instead of the combat numbers all on top of the screen and everything. And that's just, yeah, Chronicle is a wizard. We've got the Better Invites mod, which if I'm being perfectly honest, I've never used this correctly. I had a friend of mine actually send me the config file for how to set this up. The main reason why I used it is just because you can auto confirm getting regeminators, buying and selling stuff on the market and whatever, instead of having to go, yes, I want to sell this, yes, blah, blah, blah. But more importantly, you can set it up so that it will end up having a better dialog box for invites, no sound notification, no misclicks, blah, 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 and essentially just an auto accept. There's also the mod manager by ExoDave. This is why my mod screen looks different in-game. Doesn't really do much beyond that. And then there's two versions of the Superior Loot Collector. I use the advanced version. So the only real difference between the normal version and the advanced version, and yes, they're out of date, is that the advanced version will automatically destroy Crystal up to Crystal 4. So the normal one just would stop at Crystal. It's kind of a, okay, pick which one you want to use based on where you are in the game. Like how far are you in the game? Do you need to get Crystal 1s or do you want to just destroy all of them? Actually, I guess this was updated in 2023, even though it says it's out of date. There's also the Gem Booster Calculator. This is yet another mod that I barely use because I don't care about coefficiency and it just hurts my brain. But essentially, this will tell you how you should build your gems on your character in very, very specific form. So the 9-0 that you can see right here is basically 9 stats on your lesser gems. No, your empowered gems. It's 9 stats towards the physical or magic damage, and then 0 stats towards crit damage. But in the case of the lesser gems, it's going to be 4 towards physical damage, 14 stats towards crit damage. And what I basically mean by the amount of stats is basically the booster on the gems. So just giving a quick example, like you can see right here, I've got all 3 of my boosts onto light on my cosmic gem. So the main difference would be that you just have to calculate, okay, how many boosts do you need on the one specific stat and then the other stat in order to take advantage of that mod. It's really handy. It's really good, especially if you care about coefficiency. At the end of the game, the coefficiency doesn't matter that much unless you're doing like super deep delves and stuff. Then there's the item per hour tracker. This is the old school item per hour tracker that I used to use. Now am I using this one or am I using the redesigned one? We'll get into that a little bit further. And then everyone always asks what the minimap mod is called. It's literally just called minimap. And this, in my opinion, is one of the most useful mods in Trove, right up alongside the definitive boss radar. It's essentially going to change the V button that would normally like pull up the menu in your map and everything. It makes it so that defaults to bringing up the minimap because it needs to have something that gets replaced that can be up while you're still doing gameplay. Then there's this other mod called Mod Settings Companion. Now what this is going to do is it's going to end up adding settings to all of the mods in a mod settings tab, which essentially is going to give you access to the config file of a lot of mods. So sometimes there will be a mod that'll end up having these various options that you normally have to go into the config file and set up, like with the auto invites mod, for example. But with this mod, you can get into most of those while still in game. There's also the smart fishing pools, which will literally show you how many fish are in each of the ponds and shows them at a distance. Really, really helpful if you're trying to grind your fishing. And the superior marketplace, which this mod, 2022. This mod's still pretty out of date. In my opinion, it's still the best one because it basically will allow you to resell items or put stuff up for a proper value and blah, blah, blah. If I'm not mistaken, this works now with the most recent update to the store. But that's going to be it for the important mods. Now for optional mods, these are a little bit more subtle. So we've got some biome overhauls. These I really, really like. I'm just so used to using them. Actually, come to think of it, I don't know if I'm still using this one. I don't remember. That's the problem with these mod videos is I don't know which mods I'm still using and which ones I'm not. But the biome overhaul is basically Chronicle doing like some visual tomfoolery to add a lot of character to these biomes. But we've got a link to the clean dot crosshair, which This was made by somebody, I forget who this was made by, like way back in the day. That I guess it's made by Kiwi, says Sweet Zion, the uploader. But yeah, this was a mod that was uploaded here and then it got removed, and then I grabbed it and gave the file to somebody else so that they could upload it because I didn't know how to end up uploading it at the time or something, or I just didn't care. But okay, let's start speed running through this. So there's an egg finder mod that basically makes geode eggs highlighted when you're in the caves. There's the easy to see biomes. Maybe that's why the biome overhaul isn't working for me, because I'm pretty confident I'm using this one because it removes a lot of the fog and stuff. A more recent one that I ended up grabbing is this cornerstone waypoint. So you've probably seen this in my streams. Another really handy one is the mana creature waypoint. It's pretty ugly, but at least you know where the mana creatures are. It's really good when you're farming for the mana. There's also no more dark biomes, obscure UI for claims, inventory, superior loot collector. Oh, this is the loot collector that I'm using then. No, I'm not, because I don't like the way that this one looks. It's really clean, and as you can see, adds a lot of really nice quality of life visual features. But I'm not using this because I don't know, it's a little too uniform with its colors, and just the fact that it's all blacked out, it just, I don't know. I'm old, so I like the default stuff. This is also where the purple pyro disc, you guys are always asking about this on stream. The super old Trove loading screen mod, which I've been using for many years just because of how stupid and hilarious it is. The geode surface as shadow. Now, I want you to keep in mind that if you go to the user TFM, they've got a lot of different visual changes to the geode surface. Like there's one that changes it to Fey that looks really nice. There's one that changes it to desert and various other biomes in the game. But I always just use the shadow one because I don't like my eyes being gouged out by the red. Unfortunately, the tentacles can't change color though. There's also some Sundered Uplands waypoints for some of the various items. And then there's the super hot bar. So there's a lot of hot bars in the game. Some of them are a lot better, but this one in particular is my favorite because it basically just takes the normal Trove hot bar, but we have an energy meter so we can see how much energy we actually have. And then it shows a cooldown for all of your abilities and stuff. And I won't go through a lot of these, but I just wanted to show you guys the redesign mods, because these are clean, dude. They changed the visuals a little too much for me, but they basically just clean up like the various aspects of the game and make the UI look so much cleaner, so much more tight. Some of these are very nice quality of life. Like this one just makes it so that when you're moving items, it changes the UI a bit. Again, these are all things that I'm not the biggest fan of when it comes to the redesign, but it's still cool, it's there. Also, excuse me that I'm on Boomer. I was all set up for the stupid Trials of Luxion, which is now gone for 3 weeks. But anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. If you would adopt a kitten and slowly place it on the keyboard so that you can hit the like button, I would very much appreciate that. You can subscribe for more if you want. You can also check out my merch store if you want as well. The merch is a lot cheaper now that it's on the new store. I mean, it's been on the new store for like a couple months now, but still, it's worth mentioning, I think. I'm going to try my best to do some streams and stuff for you guys, but even this video was a little bit of a struggle because I have baby Leon like right beside me and he's being very quiet, but sometimes he'll like, and you know, just baby stuff. We do have the Oblivion stream today, which I'm really hoping is just announcing that Oblivion Remaster is dropping today rather than just announcing a later release date, because that would kind of suck. And then otherwise, the most recent big project I did was my Mandragora series, where I have a full 18-hour video that I cut down into 2 hours, and I'd recommend it if you guys are interested in Souls-like games. And if you didn't see my post and are wondering about the double post of my Mandragora review, it's because I didn't like my first review, so I made a new review and then just uploaded that instead. Anyways, thanks for coming out. Have a good one.